This is the truth. Your wealth had better have a rapport with your relationship with God. Your fame is better off having a rapport with your relationship with God. These two should never go single handedly or in a solo format. When the Queen of Sheba heard about the fame of Solomon and his relationship to the Lord, she came to test Solomon with hard questions. Do you hear this? Literally, kings would sit down and discuss about Solomon, and they would go, wow, have you guys heard about King Solomon? This is the wisest man on earth. This is the wealthiest man on earth. And when they ask, how on earth did he get so much fame and so much wealth? The answer was not afar off. They don't start saying, we're not sure, maybe he invested into a lot of... No. They knew that his relationship with God was the reason for his wealth. His relationship with the Lord was the reason for his fame. So these two things in the life of Solomon were not stand alone. And that is what God is saying to you today, right? He's saying to you that no matter how much you're searching for the next, I don't know, rent, right? You want to buy whatever it is, the next salary, the next meal, where's it going to come from? It had better be tied to your relationship with the Lord. That is the safest option for you. Otherwise, you will lose it. Otherwise, it is not sustainable. Anything you get from outside of God is not sustainable. The Bible records King Solomon as the wealthiest man, as the wisest man that ever lived. And the Bible lets us know that his relationship with God was as common as his wisdom. People knew that all of this wisdom he has is because he has a relationship with Jehovah. So that is really how the message here is, just to encourage us. People should never wonder where you get your things from. Really, it should never be a question. You should be a person of integrity. When you stand for God, you stand for God. When you say you're a Christian, you do things that Christians do, right? You're not just hiding. You're not always trying to cover things up. You're not always trying to, just camouflage. You should be bold. You should be bold. Of course, we read the story of Solomon down the line. We know how he ended. Solomon thought that because he could marry 700 wives and have 300 concubines, then he should listen to them as well, right? And he started to weigh their opinions around God's decisions. He decided to worship Ashtoreth, to worship Molech. He had all of these wives that God said he should never have. And the Bible says they led him astray. Solomon was led astray because in the later part of his life, he started to do the wrong things and started to open up himself to the wrong people. However, whilst Solomon was still sane and was still, fanning that relationship with God, maintaining that communion with God, he was the wisest, he was the wealthiest, and men would come from nations to hear what Solomon had to say. The Bible says in 1 Kings 10 verse 1 that the Queen of Sheba came to test Solomon. She came to let's see how true this is. Let's ask him a bunch of questions. And the Bible says he answered each of the questions that were in her heart. And she said half of what he has was not even told to her. So basically what she came to test, she has met something greater than she expected. And of course, it is recorded how much gold she gave him, basically how much she gifted him because of what she saw. That verse is so packed. It simply means God will deposit something in you for his own glory. Solomon did not literally determine, oh, now I'm the wisest man on earth, my fame has to spread abroad. No, God did that. Solomon was not the one who said, the Queen of Sheba should visit me because, she is surprised at what I can do. No, God decided that because he maintained a relationship with God. So even when God gives you that gift, he gives you that talent, it is still up to God to decide how far you can use your gift, right? How much you can use your talent, which is why this is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandment. For this is the duty of all mankind. It is a duty, it is your responsibility to fear God and to obey his commandment. You know, we really shouldn't take for granted the words of the teacher, Solomon, because he has given us a lot of nuggets, a lot of tips that are really very helpful for us on a day-to-day. And that's pretty much what I was going to share. The fact that, you know, Solomon's wealth and fame was never stand-alone information. The backup information to that was his relationship with the Lord. The Bible says Queen Sheba came to test him after she heard of his fame and of his relationship with the Lord. So what are men hearing about you? What are people saying about you? How much do they know you? And do they know about your relationship with God? Solomon was so bold about it. I mean, he would offer so many sacrifices, so many offerings to God. You know, what even prompted his being the wisest man was a time where he offered 1,000 cattle. And God was like, wow, you just struck a chord. Ask for anything. What do you want? So Solomon is a man who understood sacrifice. And once you make a sacrifice to God and he blesses you for that sacrifice, you need to maintain your relationship with him if you want to keep the gift, right? If you want to keep the gift. So really, really hope that was helpful. And I hope it helps you to make the right decision in deciding to be bold about your faith, to be bold about your relationship with God. You know, don't just be bold about your wealth, your fame, what you own, the new car, the new clothes, where you spend the weekend, where you're going for holidays next month. Please be bold about your relationship with the Lord. And that is what would sustain your gifts. The Lord bless you. Have a lovely day.